Cool.
Well, that's the downside. Because I wanted to make sure I was awake. I don't normally drink coffee or have caffeine, so I got like a triple espresso shot, like cappuccino, and two things.
You're lining up for a crash.
Well, yeah, well, I guess three things then. Yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
There's the fact that I've still got energy right now, which is good, but it may taper off any moment. So if like while we're playing, I suddenly just kind of lose energy, you know why? And then third, my tummy does not like espresso, dude.
I'm sorry.
I've been on a wild ride today. How's Among Us?
It was okay. It wasn't like, I mean, you've played enough that you know that like you can have a lobby full of people you really enjoy and just the energy just doesn't hit right. And
Yeah, sometimes the vibes are off, is what I call it.
Yeah, this was a little bit of a rough one. There was a lot of talking over, and people just weren't syncing up well. And again, it's like all respect to everyone there. No complaints about anybody in particular. It was like a little. By the end, I was like, I'm done. Like, let's go.
Yeah, so, I feel like what makes it like one person doesn't make a lobby bad. It's like usually it's got to be like a lot of stuff's happening.
I think like I'm kind of feeling more and more Brood's energy where I
love Brood,
there's some I love, but where he's just like, can we just stop? I mean, in his Brood voice, right? Can we just stop buttoning for a second and play the game?
Yeah,
that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm skipping. It's my best Brood. I haven't worked on it before, but yeah, no, like it was just 90% of the time we were in meetings and people thought, and I was just like, okay, all right, but yeah, I want to be clear, like I'm not calling anyone out or being like, yeah, you know, someone showed up and screwed everything. No, it takes multiple people to make a lobby bad.
Well, I'll shoot you an invite here and I'll explain what we're doing, I guess.
All right, sounds good. I see you up. Do you want me to just join in?
Oh, if you can just join in and do that. I'm looking on my list. Oh, there you are.
I'm connecting 26.
Yeah, you probably beat me to the invite. Also, by the way, everything on the raft is fair game. There's like nothing that you can't touch. So like supplies and all that.
Nothing sacred?
Yeah.
Are you playing creative or is this like all?
No, this is normal. It's all gathered. It's a lot of work.
Jeez, brother.
Okay, so hi Zine. If you want to come up to the second level, I'll explain what we're doing and show you can get some stuff.
Yeah.
Wait, that's my cheese the dome ladder.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
Okay, so first, you come over here to the shed. This is where all the supplies are. I didn't get a fully restock after doing the last one, so I'll have to get you some stuff as we go. But all your food and stuff's here on the side with the snacks. You should have water bottles in there. The water purifiers in the bottom side of the boat, though, sadly.
Okay.
There's plenty of wood, nails, scrap for making more nails because you'll go through nails like crazy. Plastic rope, everything you need basically to build is here.
Okay.
And then over here will be your plot of building space.
In this little space right here. This is my dome, my roof, my house.
Yeah.
Now, are you expecting anything? I'm trying to think of the word. Good.
Oh yes, yeah, no. Okay, so that's where I'll explain what we're doing, right? Because it's gonna tie into it.
Yeah. What's up?
I'm just kind of doing like these pseudo interview series with my friends, like just casual, like, have a conversation, whatever. Sure. And you guys built something on my raft, so that for me, I've got a memory of you as my friend on the raft, and then like we've had this cool segment together.
Oh, well, I'm honored that you asked. Then
here, you'll need these, by the way. There you go, some food and an axe to break the ropes down. No limit. So you can see like what Kara did, right? She built up really tall. Mew did something kind of more like, I don't know, compact. Feel free to do whatever you want. If you want decorations, we can sail back to whatever the stupid dome place is called and get them. But I don't have many decorations. I did, and I'm running a little bit low on paint, but we'll do what we can. I parked at this island last time to resupply.
Is Varuna Point a new? Oh, it's coming in third chapter. Okay.
Because on the journal, right?
I was like, I'd never heard of that one, but yeah, Tangaroa or whatever that place is. Did you enjoy Tangaroa, the dome? Because I just like felt like it was just like bunch of copy and paste and just, you know, here, search all these same rooms looking for these same things.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if it wasn't for the incredible fetch quests, I would say I liked it. But that's why
I like the idea.
That's why I built the ladder, because it lets you go straight to the elevator. Like this giant ramp, you can just walk and bypass everything. So that's why I built that.
This is a significant ramp. I gotta say, like okay, what's with the poor animals off on the side?
Oh, there's a sign over there if you want to swim out and you can see a little bit
Yeah,
more
I hear a
closely.
bird, by the way.
Don't worry, the birds they're living their best life.
They're living their best life. Timeout. Oh, okay, so this is where I spend most of my time. Typically.
That's why I've named people who
Love
have,
it.
like I've named the animals after them.
I
But
see.
so yeah, that's basically what we're up to.
Okay.
While you're doing all that, I'll just be doing maintenance and gathering more supplies for you and stuff. Oh yeah, this is the
Okay.
farm over here, probably where the bird was.
I'm curious. How did you propagate bananas like you did? Because like I find that I always end up like having a net loss on return for
Oh,
planting bananas
water's over
versus
here, by
what
the
I
way.
for the seeds and stuff. You know, like maybe that's just me, but
I think that's
I'm
just bad
bad at it.
RNG. I feel like sometimes I'll get low yields of seeds, but for the most part, I always have more than what I started with.
huh? Yeah, that.
I'm-
Like I always end up running out of banana seeds.
I wonder if it's just a numbers game because I'm growing so many. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, take
Oh,
anything
man.
anywhere from any of these chests.
All right.
Most of the supplies like I said are in here. But yeah, let's get to chatting.
Okay.
So,
Chat away.
I think what's interesting, without intending to, both the previous guests I've had on, we've ended up discussing a little bit of like how we met each other before we get into the questions. So I guess we'll just do this here and make it a thing now.
Okay.
And what's
all right.
really interesting about this one, I'm just gonna throw this out there because this is gonna be a bumpy ride, guys. Zena and I did not like each other, I think, when we first met, but like came to respect each other the more we interacted, right? Is that like a
Well,
good summary?
This is the first time you're admitting that you didn't like me. Like I.
Well, okay, I did like you, but I didn't want to make you seem like the dick. Okay, right now I'm being a good friend. See?
yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, like you. How do I phrase this? Some days, like some days, your sense of humor can be slightly abrasive more than others, and not in a bad way. Or well, I mean, I like, and,
No,
and I
sometimes,
just met you
yeah.
on one of those days, and so I was just like, and I had at that point a couple people who were regulars in my stream who were a little bit on the overly sensitive side probably, and so we did Sea of Thieves. Kara asked you to join and or asked if you could join. I was like sure, you know, and then we met. But some of the jokes and stuff was just a little off time with kind of how I'd been doing stuff at that point. And so, like, again, it wasn't anything like, man, this guy's an ass. It was just like, I don't know if this was the right
You
vibe.
threw me
like,
in
it
the
just-
brig, Zine. I think that says
Threw-
plenty.
Did we actually throw you in the brig?
Yeah, I was stuck in there for like it felt like eternity, man. I lost.
Oh, no, the brig. The brig always feels like a turning. Do we have? I'm not finding nails. I'll go look again. You
Yeah,
showed
so
me
in the wood chest, there's a bunch of scrap you'll have to turn into nails because I don't know how many
okay,
nails
got it.
you'll want, so I just left it as
Yeah.
scrap.
Okay, I see it. Yeah. So it just like, you know, and I had a couple people in chat that were like, you know, I don't know if that everything lined up.
Yeah.
And again, I don't remember specifics enough to say like, man, you were an ass, or you know, it very well could have just been that, you know, timing and or any number of factors. But I told Carl, I was like, I don't know if, you know, I want to sell with him again. Like, you know, I mean, sure, he seems nice. Oh, the other thing to that was that before we actually met, we were everyone was
Stream
doing the
Raiders.
Stream Raiders, and you were pissed off, and so I was like, I got invited in, and they had just tried their like first verses, and you were like just flaming the hell out of them, like, what are you doing? What kind of? And I'm like, holy shit, this guy's going
This guy's
ham. Like,
angry.
he mad. And so I need the mallet. That's what I need. So I kind of had this like I got a first impression that turned out to not be terribly accurate, and fortunately over time we got to encounter again, and I was like, dude, this dude's funny. Like, I don't know what happened that first time, but just your sense of humor cracked me up and really just turned me around on it. So
Yeah, I think like
eventually-
it's like Among Us that really pushed us together, right? Like
yeah, I would say Among Us is where we really kind of started to connect,
in mud,
and
dude.
it was one of those things where you know, like I realized that I had been very premature, and you know, eventually admitted to you, like, you know, it didn't work out for it, but you know, you were very kind and gracious about it, and I appreciate that. So yeah. Does that like kind of fill in a little bit what you're looking for? Like,
no,
you
yeah,
know,
no. It's just it's funny because I feel like with everyone else I'm going to be bringing out, a lot of us just like we were just BFFs right off the get go, and I like your story kind of reminds me of like all these, or well, our story kind of reminds me of a lot of those prearranged marriages where they talk about how you learn to love each other over time. You know what I mean?
Love each other. Yeah. Eventually, you won over my heart.
I think what makes me happy about that though is that we did end up getting to know each other better and start playing stuff because first we have a ton of mutual friends. It would be horrible to constantly run into each other and hate each other.
Yeah, that would suck.
But also just like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just a big dumb stupid, and for me, I'm just always trying to have a good time. I'm not really trying to like make anyone upset. And you've actually messaged me a couple times too, where you're like, I think you're taking it too far, and that's great for me. And like having someone like that in a lobby with me, it makes me like comfortable knowing that someone will be kind of watching my back in that way, right?
Yeah, like, and that's, I mean, it's in a way it's similar, but it's different in that, you know, that was after we had established respect and everything. And for me, again, it goes to a good friend is willing to tell you something, even if that's going to make you upset. Like,
yeah, because they care about you.
Yeah. It's like, hey, and so yeah, we had a lobby where someone without having full context, someone was a little upset, and I wasn't sure whether it was from what you had said or whatever. And so I just kind of sent a little message and was like, hey, you might want to check in and kind of see if this person's okay, because they don't seem like it, and you've been kind of going a little ham on them in an intended joking way, but I don't know if they took that right.
Yeah, so, I feel like without the rude parts of it, I've got like locker room humor, where it's just like we're buds, you know, we tell it whatever. Yeah. And I kind of, you know, it's difficult to remember. People can be sensitive at times because I'm just not like that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so yeah, that's the TLDR. Me and Zine homies now, which is good.
Yeah, and I, again, like I said, I'm glad that we've you know, been able to, and maybe it's just me, I'm glad that I realized the error, and you know, I'm happy and enjoy when I get to play with you now. So.
Well, it's good. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna very awkwardly segue this rather than continue,
okay, yeah,
because when I met you, yeah, same thing was, I remember through Stream Raiders, and I was like, oh, this guy's got a huge audience because he's got so many level 1 units on the board, right? I'm like, you know, he's got a lot of fans. And I didn't really know where you, because I didn't look you up. I didn't really know where you were in the scope of like popularity. Were you like this crazy big YouTuber, streamer, whatever? And it wasn't until we got to know each other and all that stuff that I did finally like start looking, because I'm like, oh, he's playing with Captain Sparkles. Oh, he's playing with Kara. Like he knows everybody. But you've been around for the scene for longer than I even realized. Once I started looking into it, I was like, oh, this isn't some just like new kid on the block, man. This guy, one of the OGs.
Yeah, I actually have my 6-year stream anniversary next week, so
nice.
I mean, I consider myself second gen, basically. Like, you know, the OGs to me are the old YouTubers that, you know, and who have come over to streaming, and you know, a lot of them still haven't quite figured out the difference between YouTube and stream and Twitch, which is always funny to watch. But is
it safe to assume you got big on YouTube before Twitch?
No. Well, no, I would say no. Because Twitch has always been my significantly greater preference. I've tried both. Like, I started out like, hey, I'll do maybe try this whole YouTube thing, but YouTube has never clicked well with me, and I've never done well on it. My audience is there, and I appreciate them, but it's not like it's not a huge following. It's not and I've been at like 149K for like a year. Like, it's just there. You know, Twitch is where all of my energy and all of my everything goes to. So, you know, to those people who are still watching me on YouTube, I'm confused, but I appreciate it. You know,
I'm confused, but bless you.
Yeah, but bless you. But yeah, no, I wouldn't say that I was big on YouTube first. Like, it's always kind of been a little bit of a hand in hand, and my focus has always been more on the Twitch side.
Oh, that's cool.
I understood and felt the Twitch side a lot more. And I just, like, honestly, editing like is rough for me. I don't terribly love editing. I don't make enough to pay an editor. I'm not willing to, like, I have people that offer like, hey, I'll do it, and it's like, I'm not willing to take someone's free, you know, like have an artist work for me for free just because they think like I pay my artists. It's an important thing to me. And so it's always kind of a little bit of a pulling teeth to get videos out of myself and that sort of thing. It's something I wish I was better at. But and the other stupid thing is when I hit that record button, man, I go stupid. I'm like, hey guys, welcome to no, that's not right. Okay,
Right.
hey
You
guys,
can do it on Twitch, no problem. The second you try to record it, it's like 5 mess ups. Yeah.
100%. I can't fix it on Twitch, so I don't worry about it. I just keep going and I just keep that flow and it's fine. But as soon as something about that click and the I'm trying to do a YouTube video, not just, I'm doing a stream, it somehow like becomes way more complex for me. And it's really quite dumb.
Yeah.
I really don't know why that is, but it just is. And I'm much more comfortable with the with the direct audience interaction and everything that Twitch provides.
Maybe it's like a confidence boost there too, right? Because like you don't know how YouTube's going, but you can read the room with Twitch a little bit, right? Like, oh no, this is a joke hit. Like, yeah.
I think that's a big part of it is I consider myself a storyteller. I love telling stories, and I use that a lot in what I do to try and like present something, make it fun, make it interesting, whatever. And with YouTube, like you can't like you're telling a story to the camera, right? You're hoping it's landing, but you really don't have a whole lot of anything. With Twitch, you can have that immediate feedback,
and I
can play the audience. I can do just things that I just have struggled to do on like I said, on the Twitch side. So yeah, it somehow works out better that way.
Well, that's cool. I just presume the other way because of how big your involvement with Minecraft and stuff has been, because all those guys big on YouTube then moved over to Twitch, right? So yeah. I just always assume, but no, that's cool to know because I also started on Twitch and have struggled with YouTube. So I feel like
YouTube is a brutal thing to try and do now. And I mean, like some people it comes naturally, others not. Like I'm not saying it can't be done, but it is definitely kind of it's a different beast. And I think I've seen a lot of YouTubers who are doing well on YouTube come over and not be able to pull much of an audience on the Twitch side as well, because again, same thing to them. It's a different beast, and they need to like kind of recognize like you're producing a different type of content. It needs to be shorter, it needs to be more compact, you need to be more direct. And so I feel like I've done an okay job of balancing both, but really, like the longer I go, the worse my time on YouTube is versus what I put into Twitch. And again, that's kind of to the detriment of myself, but it's also where I want to put my energy and stuff.
I want to actually go back on something you said before we get too far away from it too. Where you mentioned about paying your editors and stuff is important to you. And I feel so similar, even though I'm like disadvantaged or whatever. Like if someone's doing work for me, I want to make sure they're getting paid too, right?
Sure.
And so I think you and I talked about this a little bit in private, but I like you a lot because I feel like you've got a really good moral compass, and I feel strongly about a lot of that stuff too. So I kind of resonate a bit, I guess. And that's where, like, not to brown nose too much, that's where a lot of my respect for you comes from. Where I think like if someone told me to trust Zine, he'll do the right thing, I wouldn't worry about it, right?
Well, I mean, I'm happy to hear that. Like I really do. This gets into a little bit more of the, just the why I stream and stuff. But I really do try and make it to where I believe that, our world kind of sucks as it is in a lot of ways. And I don't want to get grim or anything like that. But there's a lot of problems and a lot of pain and things that are happening. And I don't think any one person can fix that. My belief and my strong belief is that we all have to do small things together. And one of the examples that I use is the shopping cart in the grocery store parking lot. No one is making you go and put that grocery cart away. No one is expecting that, but you have a choice at that point of, do I put a little bit of extra effort in and do I do this? Or do I just, be selfish and no one's going to care? I can completely just leave it right next to my car. I can hop in my car and drive away, and there's no repercussions to me whatsoever other than knowing that I did that. And that's to me, that's a big example that I use of how we can make small choices and we can do small things and make the world better around us without having to really cost us anything. Because it doesn't cost you anything to take that extra 30 seconds and push it back. It's a matter of being conscious of your world around you and of how other people feel. And I think that cascades when people do that. Like, you can exist in your life just being polite and just being a good person and make things better for people around you more than you'll ever really realize. I'm rotating plate. Okay,
Sorry. I was going to say, I don't want to interrupt, but I had to turn the boat.
No. You're good. So I'm trying to make sure I don't just talk myself in circles here, and I have a point to this, but I try and lead by example. I try and be what I encourage people to do. And then the last piece of that is also that I grew up with chronic depression. It's something that was diagnosed to me. My mom has it. I have it, and it's just it's just a part of how things are with me. And all through basically it started around my 14, 15 years old. And it was pretty much untreated until my very late teens or early 20s. And one of the things that's really important to me is that I act in a way and be the person that I wish I, as a 14-year-old self, would have known and been able to listen to back then, if that makes any sense. Like, I try and be who I wish I would have known. And so what's that?
Oh, it makes total sense. Be your own role model. Like, I absolutely get it.
And that's basically, like, in my mind, that's how I feed myself, like feed my soul kind of with streaming, and how I get back to myself and self-care is being able to be that person and to act that way. It means a lot to me to try and be that.
It's so heartbreaking though, man. Like, I wish more bigger content creators had that same mentality that you have, because it feels like so often nowadays we're just constantly hearing these stories of people who are like abusing their audience or not being responsible and all these other things. They're just like, come on, how many times do you guys see this happen, you know?
Yeah, I've there's definitely been people who I had wanted to respect, and then seeing that this is they're a different person went behind the scenes, or even just out in the open. Like, as you get to know them, you're like, wow, okay, you're not really one for being good, but that's okay, I guess. I'm just going to associate with others. But I don't claim any sort of like I don't want to come across as self-righteous or anything like that. Like, I'm just a dude doing what he does. But I think there is an opportunity in where we're at, and the people who listen to us to kind of do some good and leave some good impressions and leave the world, hopefully at the end of the day, leave the world a little less crappy than it is, than it feels,
Ambitious. I don't have any better response. I'm sorry, just ambitious, dude.
I mean, I guess in my mind, it's not terribly though, because it's not that it's, again, I don't talk about like, hey guys, let's do these big things. Let's create this. Like, it's more just, like I said, put your shopping cart away. Just be mindful of other people. Like, one thing that, a moment that I handled, I felt proudly and kind of look back and I'm like, hey, not bad, me, but for right or for wrong is, at one point I was going through, I was grabbing a hamburger at McDonald's or whatever, and the person at the window, when they were kind of basically handed me my drink, it was almost spilling out, like kind of just forced it into my hand. The lid wasn't fully on right, splashed a little in my lap and stuff, and then almost like threw their bag at me. and or threw my bag at me, like just boom, like, here's your food, get the heck out, And I tweeted about it a little bit later, and I was like, to the the McDonald's worker who did these things, I hope your day gets better. Like, obviously you're dealing with some shit, and that sucks. Nothing was really harmed with me, like, it's fine. I hope your day just improves. And I think that when you say ambitious, like, I think that kind of comes back to, that didn't take a whole lot. It just meant being empathetic and seeing, why are these things happening, and can I make it better or help, or how can I not make it worse? whichever that may be. If that makes any sense.
Yo, okay, this is gonna sound like a bit of a goofy question, but this is something I've thought about a lot with this topic, and it's do you feel that cartoons influence the way people grew up to feel like this?
I think it depends. I mean, I definitely would say there's a possibility of it, but I think that it depends on at what age a person continues to watch cartoons. If I were to look back on my life, I can't think of any real life lessons one way or the other that came from cartoons for me. But I know there's people that enjoy and watch cartoons much longer than me. And, you know, perhaps if they, you know, if you're watching into a more formulative year or situation, then yeah, I could see where they'd have an influence. They'd make an impact.
I just feel like, man, when I was growing up, like, it wasn't like that. I wasn't like my parents just left me on the TV all day type thing. But the cartoons I watched with just, you know, shows like Recess or Arthur or a lot of these like very typical 90s kids shows. And they taught me a lot of like pretty good lessons that I think really helped carry me and shape me to like who I am. I'm not gonna like credit who I am to like 90s cartoons, but stuff like, you know, there's an episode of Recess where like this kid doesn't like one of the main characters, and the whole episode's about learning to just deal with sometimes people don't like you. Man, has that been such a valuable part of me being an adult, just having that like that thought process.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely I agree to a point. I think that there are lessons to be taken, and I think that's a perfect example of one that can be. I don't know if like it's hard for me to quantify like in reflecting on my own life whether that came, but I think it's perfectly reasonable to say yes, it can. You know, yes, it can have an effect and be a part of it.
Yeah, well, before we get too like into that part of the question, it just leads into the thing of really like this is where we come into streamers, right? And I feel like the people who watch you, they're gonna have the same kind of experience I had with the cartoons, whereas like people who watch, I'm not gonna go out of my way to name people, but all of you can think of somebody like who's like maybe not such a great influence, like they're gonna grow up like that, right? Because that's what they've been watching, that's what they've been taught. So I plead and wish like people like you and Kara and others who I think would lead well by example. I wish they would blow up so bad, because man, that's gonna be such a game changer for not like today but tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean that means, well, one, just, you know, that's very kind of you to say, and I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I definitely see that the audience reflects the culture that's put out by the streamer. And, you know, one of the things that I talk about is, you know, your mods are a much bigger decision than most people give, because they're who literally project your culture onto the audience while you're busy, you know, doing the show basically. So I always hope my mods know I always love and appreciate them and what they do. But yeah, no, I've definitely seen chats and environments where it's like, this is not the best that you might have hoped for, because they're a little, you know, they just don't care, or even worse is if they're actively toxic, I guess is the best, you know, way to describe it. But you know, there is definitely you can see the streamer in the actions of the audience, and I think you see that in raids and stuff like that, and the people who come by and how they interact with chat and everything like that quite a bit.
Yeah, I get so frustrated when I hear people like, I'll never understand what it's like to be XQC with like an audience that size, but at the same time, I just can't imagine that there's no way you can control people, right? No matter what size of stream you are, because you're gonna have the mods that are enforcing the rules or not. Even if the chat's like going a mile a minute, you know, you as the streamer set the standard.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, I'm not saying that I haven't hit that 15,000 mark concurrent yet, so I understand there's levels.
We'll get there one day, brother.
Yeah, things change as it goes, but I definitely like, I've had the opportunity to be on the front page and had, you know, several thousand, and we still like, you know, we still maintain decorum and all of the things there without having to give up anything of ourselves or you know, like I just don't buy that it's completely untenable and uncontrollable.
Yeah.
But I say that, but I do think that there is a point where it's like it's a lot less likely. And when I watch a Twitch, like a Twitch stream, and there's 100,000 people going by, and it's just a million miles a minute. Like, obviously, that's not a community-based thing. You can't, that's just noise. But I do think that people give up on having a good audience and a well-behaved audience a lot earlier than they necessarily should.
I would agree.
I don't know
I
if
would
that's
agree with
making
that.
any sense or
No,
not.
absolutely agree with that 100%.
But I don't see myself as a moral paragon, or I don't know what the right word is there, but I just try and be a good person and make it so that the people who interact with me in a day have their day be better because of it, instead of have their day be worse because of it. And I think that's a really low bar, and I don't understand why it's so hard for some people.
Yeah, but also understanding people is one of these things I've just given up on at this point. There's some days too, like even the people who like love the sport, like your Twitch chat, it's like, hey guys, don't do this, and then they all do this, or do this, and then nobody does. Like, Car made that meme the other day where it's like, hey, I'm gonna play a new game, or the chat wants you to play a new game. Well, you guys will show up for it, right? Right?
Yeah. You guys are gonna show up for it, right?
Yeah.
That gets into audience building and your connection with your audience, which is a whole other topic that I put a lot of time and thought into. But yeah, I see where you're coming from for sure.
Well, let's switch gears here with questions just for
Okay.
a bit. A lot of us who are watching this, I mean, whether it's on YouTube or Twitch, we know Zine well enough that I'm sure these aren't eye-opening questions. So let's go away from the streaming world for a little bit here.
Okay.
Personally, I can't deal with downtime. I need to be busy, and I feel like I'm wasting time if I'm not. So I have a hard time like relaxing and taking time off. Two-part question is, do you have the same struggles, and what do you do for time off?
No. I am very motivated to do absolutely nothing.
I like that phrasing actually.
To a detrimental amount at times. I am perfectly fine to have off days, and it's been a bit of definitely been an effort to learn motivation, but not so much motivation as much as discipline, which is a pretty big distinction that I think that I've gotten from a very good friend, but that makes a big difference is understanding the difference between motivation and discipline. But I have had to work and move and figure out how to keep myself going. That said, it has become a lot easier because I do love streaming so much. I was originally in the corporate world, and it was not my favorite. And then
really?
coming over, what's that?
What if you don't mind my asking, what did you do before streaming?
I was initially a developer and then turned into a manager.
Oh, interesting.
I basically I ended at director of development.
What?
I was director level and over web applications and all of that.
So a real actual, yeah, that's cool. You want to take a guess what I did before streaming?
Photography.
Amateurly, sure, but not professionally. No.
Okay. What did you do?
I was a security guard, actually. Funny enough.
Huh.
I worked.
Did you enjoy that?
Yesn't. There were some good stories and some good times, but for the most part, no, because it's like you're working 12-hour shifts most times, and it's like 6 till 6 type thing. But sometimes you would get like a construction site. You just have to be there overnight, and there's just nothing to do. It's so boring, so you can't like really love it, right? But then sometimes you're like a bouncer at a club, and it pays a lot more, but you have to deal with so much more headache.
Mm-hmm.
One of actually, sorry, don't mean to make this about me, but
no, you're fine.
One of the worst memories I have was we were working this place called Shark Club, which is just like, I don't know, kind of a mid-tier bar, nothing special, overpriced, all that, right? Mm-hmm. And typically you're not really fighting people as a bouncer or anything. You're just more like, hey, okay, you've had a bit much to drink, let me escort you outside, right?
Right.
But this one guy he was out of his mind. He was being a problem. He was grabbing people, pushing people. So we threw him out. And but half an hour later, we see the same guy. We're like, wait, how do you? Because we're at the door. How do you get back in? So we throw him out again. Again, like half an hour later, he shows up, and we're just like, we're losing our minds to this. Find out like the next day from our boss, because we were really frustrated about this. We complained. We're like, we don't know how he kept getting in. We did our job, right? He was he was going around back basically buying cocaine from the owner, and the owner would just let him in through the back. And he repeated this like 4 or 5 times apparently throughout the night.
Interesting.
It's like those
Maybe,
are the,
did the owner know that you guys were trying to get him out, or not really?
I think he probably didn't care because he was the guy who kept buying cocaine. Right?
Yeah. I don't care. He's making good purchases, so you know.
Yeah. Well, I regardless of whatever the case was, that was just, you know, you deal with stuff like that enough times, and you're just like, this is so dumb. Why am I even working? Like, what's the point? And I would on those really boring construction nights, I would watch Twitch streamers and go, I think I could do that, you know. So that's what got me transitioned over.
That's cool. So I was a big fan of Jordan, and he got me kind of into YouTube, and like, when I say got me into, like, he started me out through his music videos.
How did you two meet?
Well, I mean, I'll tell the story kind of how this progressed.
Okay.
I think I'm pretty sure, like, I'd like to say it was one of his cool music videos, but I'm pretty sure it was like digging Minecraft style, like the Gangnam the Gangnam style spoof. But so he got me into, like, and then I watched his Ultramodern Revival first episode. I still remember, like, it was titled I Am an Ant. Like, I remember everything about it, kind of thing. So then eventually he, while doing that, started doing kind of like, that series was ongoing, but he started doing it in a like, for grinding and for things that weren't really YouTube great. He started doing Twitch, and that brought me over and introduced me to the Twitch side. And one thing led to another. He got into a series called Mionite. I watched that for a while and was a fan, and during the second season of it, I was, you know, ever so cool. Therefore, I was a member, and an active member of the Mionite subreddit on Reddit.
Ooh.
And yeah.
Ooh.
And they eventually, the people who were trying to do the story portions of that, you know, because it was a whole lore-based story thing, they were like, we need help, we need some volunteers. And so I sent an application. It was actually my second application that they ended up accepting, but so I started working behind the scenes. But that on the series that he was a part of, and I still kind of remember, like, the first time that I, you know, was on the server that I'd been watching through, you know, like, I'm on this Minecraft, like, I'm flying over and seeing the things that I've seen in these videos and stuff. And, you know, it was majestic, it was cool, it was amazing that this had happened. And then I, you know, the next thing I saw was, you know, cobblestone penis. And I was like, yep, okay, well, you know, you know, illusion ruined, that's fine. You know, it is what it is. But, so, but that was primarily
I got this for you, by the way. Here you go.
Oh, thank you. Ooh, coconut chicken.
Mm-mm.
I like a good, you know, coconut milk curry. Yeah, but anyway, sorry. So I started working there, but the guy who was really in charge of that, like Jordan, as in all things Jordan wasn't actually doing it. He just was like, sure, I'll show up, no problem. Which, for those of you who know him, is very Jordan. He's like, yeah, okay, you know, I don't have to do anything, then great, I'll be there. But so the other guy who was in charge of it didn't want any of the hired help, so to speak, to bother them. They were the talent. They did their own thing. You know, we weren't there to fanboy off of them. We weren't there to talk to them. We were behind the scenes to make their series better, and we needed to stay out of their way. And you know, I have my own opinions about kind of that attitude, but regardless, you know, it's his show, whatever. And the guy who he had his friend kind of managing everybody. So there's a big streamer, his friend is managing, coordinating everything, and his friend, he's a nice guy, wasn't a great manager, wasn't a great communicator, and we kept having events and problems and things that broke because the talent didn't know to be there, didn't know what to do, like,
Oh,
you know,
oof.
like, and so I'm a manager by this point in my life. Like, that's fixing those things is what I do. So I kind of backdoored things a little bit and managed through Twitter to get to get Jordan and some of the others to know who I was on Twitter. And then I started coordinating, like using that to coordinate, and
That's clever. That's really clever, though.
And so that way Jordan now became, had an idea of that I existed in the world, right? And I was kind of sending stuff. When that series ended, he wanted to try a new one, and I offered to help him put it together, and he accepted that. So then I started working more directly with him, and and we kind of became aware of each other, worked directly one-on-one. That was like my first time I was in a Skype call specifically with him, kind of thing. And that was also funny because it's like, Jordan's fairly wholesome and all that with his channel, and so it was a little jarring to get in a call with him and have him saying some of the words that he was using. Like he's known for not using certain words that
yeah, I'm not allowed to swear.
I don't want to spill any tea or anything, but trust me, he knows how to use those words. he's
I
used
think
them
everyone
before.
suspects. Everyone suspects.
Yeah. But so I remember that moment kind of, and so that series didn't do too well. There was a lot of scheduling conflicts and whatnot. But like a year later, he got into another big series with Sunday, and they needed a developer or a mod pack developer. They were like, we're doing a custom mod pack. Do you know how to make mod packs? And I was like, absolutely I do. I didn't, but I can learn.
You want to get in there,
yeah. I wasn't about to be like, no. I was like, yep, sure, no problem, absolutely, yep, that's me. And surprisingly enough, that actually worked out well enough. The real mod pack maker, Kehan, he knew what he was doing enough that I was just, I was able to just be decorative, but in a way that, kind of worked out. And this group, this was Trollcraft with Sunday, Craner, and Jordan. Sunday was running it, and he was all about like, hey, if you have an idea, if you have anything, if you he's like, content's content. If you do want to do something, then just do it. And so I started basically playing with them as like the server god, kind of, because I was OP, messing around with them, kind of keeping them in line, and just, but I became very involved with the actual story portion, and from there, that's when Jordan got to kind of know me enough to be like, you might be able to make mediocre videos with me. Do you, do you want to do?
Give yourself some more credit than that. Damn. You hate to see it. You hate to see it.
But he was like, okay, do you want to do this? And he was like, here's the deal. I, being Jordan, want to show up and not have to do any of the pre-setup stuff. And I give him a hard time. Most everybody who knows, and I should clarify for anyone who doesn't know me, I tease him a lot. He's a good friend. I have a lot of respect for him. Don't ever read anything like that I'm actually, trying to be insulting or anything to him. But he was genuinely like, I don't have time to set up these adventure maps and do all this. I need to crank out multiple videos a day. How about you run the server, you set up maps, you find a map, you set it up, and I show up, and we record together, and then that way you get you get exposure through my audience. He's paying me an exposure.
Oh God.
But
don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Genuinely, in this case, it was a valid thought of I got something out of it, and then he would get something out of it, in that. The time that he saved by not having to worry about all these things.
Yeah, I can feel that.
Yeah, and it genuinely was a very, probably even better for me maybe, but, it generally was a mutually beneficial arrangement, not just, hey, artist, give me free stuff, I'll pay you in exposure. Like, it wasn't that, because, he has a huge audience, and as a streamer, your single biggest problem is having people know you exist. The ecosystem is huge.
Yeah.
There's a million
saturation,
people,
man.
Yeah, there's a million kids who have this idea that you can play video games and get paid for it, and that's the dream. And there's some harsh realities to that you're in to learn. But regardless, but it was an equitable arrangement. And so we did that, and then kind of the friendships developed. And from there, we eventually got to a point where instead of maps, we started doing mod pack series, and that's continued on. And then, you know, he arranged some sponsors who have supported us long term with our mod pack series and stuff. So that's all worked out really well. And you know, he's taught me a lot about the business side of it. It's always a little interesting. We have very different perspectives on things, but it works, and it's you know, I feel like I've taught him maybe arrogantly perhaps, but I feel like I've taught him how to be a better streamer, and he's taught me how to be a better creator, if that makes any sense. Like the connecting to the audience and realizing that your stream is different from a YouTube video, and that it needs to be approached differently. Not to say he wasn't doing well, because at that size you do well almost regardless. But
true, very true.
Yeah, no, like the thing. This is, you know, segue upon segue, but the thing about streaming is that it gets easier as you go in a way, because your audience is the hype machine. We depend on the audience as our PR team. We don't, unless you have the finances to pay and advertise regularly through Twitter promotions and YouTube and stuff. Unless you're like literally advertising, we are dependent on the viewers to provide and introduce people to us. So you know, when you have a built-in audience, that makes that easier. So anyway, that's a whole long story of how I got in and met Jordan, and we kind of, you know, we became friends, and it all worked out fairly well in the long run.
That's cool. Yeah,
for me anyway. I don't know whether he's as happy with it, but that's, you know, understandable.
There's almost like a good story there. Like, I mean, like something you'd hope to see almost in a movie, kind of like that Will Smith one, right? Where you just watch the dad do everything he can to get ahead, and in this case, it's just like the lame Twitch version, but still kind of a cool story.
Yes, I agree. I've often thought of myself as the lame Twitch version of a Will Smith story. It's not true, but you know, I get what you're saying.
Yo, that's hot. That's hot.
That's hot. That's hot. Ah, hell nah.
You know, there's something you brought up though that I feel I resonate with too. The, you know, harsh realities of streaming. Everyone looks at it like this glory job, and you know, I have a lot of people. I don't know if you get this question. I get this question probably about once a week, where it's like, "Hey, I'm new to streaming. Any advice?" And I say, don't expect anything. Like, or like, just don't do it if it's not something you're gonna try. Like, it's just, there's gonna be a lot of disappointment, and it's hard to handle. There's gonna be a lot of fail. Oh, what's going on outside? Sorry, yeah, I don't know what that's. Anyways, but yeah, it's like there's a lot of disappointment and stuff, and how do you prepare people for that, really, right?
Yeah, when people are like, "Hey, guess what? I think you've inspired me to start streaming," and it's like I'm excited for them, but also like, okay, you know, good luck, be strong, you know, let me know how it turns out. The streaming is difficult, and it takes a lot of mental fortitude because there's a lot of mind games you play with yourself. It's really tough because every single day you get a report card as soon as you're done on how well people liked you that day.
Yeah, and did you make money? Did you make subs?
That is brutal to just have thrown in your face. Like, you know, feedback is good, but just it is easy to get lost in metrics and numbers, to ask yourself, you know, why aren't people watching? Why don't they like me? You know, like any number of digressions that are not it's not healthy to dwell on. So yeah, it's a tough gig, and absolutely, obviously, those of us that do it, and I'm sure many others love it. It's very rewarding, but it is also very difficult. And in my opinion, I've seen this a lot. Many of the, hey, do you have any tips on how to stream? I feel like it very rarely comes from someone I know, and I feel like they're basically doing the, hey, yeah, so I'm a streamer too, you know, like just speaking loudly to everyone else.
Just in case you were wondering,
could you tell me how I can make the stream that's over at my channel better? Like, you know, I don't think they're quite as clever as they think they are about that, but it's also like, you don't want to be a dick to everyone, and you've got to start somewhere. So it's like, okay, but genuinely, the thing that I would tell someone if they were starting is you should be in a community or have establish somewhere to where you start with people who are already interested. If you're starting streaming to 0 viewers, then you are in for absolute hell, because again, it gets easier. It's an exponential curve in terms of difficulty, and so getting that first viewer, you can be weeks before you get one, and by that point, you've gone half mad. If you see someone, you're going to be like, "Hey, Bob, what's going on, dude? I'm so happy you're here. Thank you so much. Oh my God, you're my first viewer." And that Bob's going, "Dude, I misclicked. Like, I gotta go. Can I go?" You know, and it's very overwhelming. Where I've seen the people that are successful, they become a part of a community, and you know, most communities have a non-advertising type of thing. But if it's like, if you've been around for a while, and I know you're here, you've been you've been great, and then you're like, "Hey, I'm starting," then sure, go ahead, throw a shout out in there. You know, let me maybe toss a raid your way. Have people that are already set there to help you get past that beginning, because the beginning is the worst. But then also, like you said, go in with no expectations. The affiliate program didn't exist when I went through the whole process, so I didn't make a dime on Twitch until I got partnered 2.5 years in. So
Yeah.
it was like, you know, back in my day. It's easier now for people to just be like, okay, it's some coffee money or some pocket change or whatever. And as long as you go in saying maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, then fine, have fun, go do that, and that's great. But if you go in with this is going to be perfect, you know, and I'm going to make it big, it's just going to be disappointment.
Yeah. Gosh, I really find it difficult to sympathize when I see people complain about stuff on Twitter, because
Yeah.
you know, if we are going to go back in my day, you needed to have like so many more requirements to get partnership. I think it was like 500 concurrent viewers 3 times a week was the one I was stuck with, and that was like brutal at the time.
Yeah. No, that was the published guidelines. I got partnered primarily through my YouTube channel, which at that point, because of Trollcraft, I started making some Trollcraft videos behind the scenes, and they did really well because I had, you know, these other big guys associated, and so I had a decent followership on there. I think it was like 70,000 or something, and then same thing, I was streaming some behind the scenes stuff, and so I was getting decent numbers there, like 1,100 or whatever, and so that was you know, that Twitch was like, sure, of course, you look great. And then, you know, of course, when that ended, then I tanked back down to 20 and started my life down in the bottom again, and you know, had to work and earn my own way up, because that's a very transient audience when you go that route. But still, it allowed me to get partner and kind of have a foothold and start moving forward.
I was having a bit of a panic attack, by the way, just while you've been talking. I broke something on the bottom of the ship that affected Kara's house.
Oh dear. You need help with anything?
No, I've since sorted it, but oh boy, did I think I went upstairs like, and my heart sunk, but I didn't want to interrupt you, so I'm just like quietly freaking out over here, dude.
Okay. No, all good. I hope it all resolved correctly and is looking good.
Yo, someone in chat that was in response to this, I want to address a bit. So it's like, what you're saying is it's all about get friends in high places. Honestly, though, as terrible as it is to say, that kind of is the case. Like, it's a lot of who you know, not what you know, when it comes to streaming. And
it's both, unfortunately. It would be my answer.
You'd be ignorant to neglect one for the other, or prioritize one without the other, right? Like,
yeah, I've known people who have, you know, who've gotten raids from Shroud and you know, like just absolute big bombs of people, thousands at a time. But if they don't have the show and the showmanship to hold on to them, you know, then it doesn't matter. You know, I can drop people on someone all day long, and no one's, you know, and my audience will go and check them out out of respect for me, but then they go, yeah, no, this isn't what I'm looking for, and then they leave. So, but absolutely, you know, having it doesn't hurt to have that friend in high place or whatever. But I don't know if I could necessarily agree like you have to. Because I don't think of myself as high up. Like, it's easy enough to get to know me and talk to me, and my DMs are open. I've never closed them off. I've you know, I've always tried to be available, and you know, if someone in the community puts in some time and gets to know us and is doing more than just using us to be a launch pad, but instead is
That's
a part
the
of the
worst
community.
feeling when like you
He-
feel like you're being used. I just ugh.
Yeah, no, and it's not, unfortunately, it's not uncommon. Um, then but if they put in that time and effort and just be a part of the community and then say, I have this interest and I'd kind of like to look into this, then yeah, that you can get a hand and some help. Yes, that is, knowing someone, but it's not, oh, you only know someone through family connections or whatever. Like, I didn't know Jordan when I started. I was a Redditor. We all of us are Redditors at this point. Like that, I wasn't anything special, but you find your opportunities, you put in for them, and you know how to capitalize on them, and that's the difference between success and not in a lot of cases.
Very well said. My biggest thing is like I don't even know how I get to know people half the time. Like it's always like, wow, how are we even friends? Because I feel so bad bothering people. My biggest concern is just like I just feel like I'm gonna waste their time. Like I'm bothering like another human being, right? But like, so I even as friends, like forget strangers, like I don't reach out to friends enough because I'm just like, oh, they're probably busy. They're probably doing their own thing. That's like way more important than whatever I would ask them to do. So it's like I don't even know how I get to know the people I know, man. I'm like blessed. I somehow know like everybody nowadays. But like,
yeah, between you and Kara, you guys know everyone.
yeah, we can set up the sickest Among Us lobbies, dude.
Yeah, I was hoping for one, and then you were like, nah, I ain't doing it. So it's cool, no worries. It's all
Yeah. Fuck you, Zed. Fuck you.
fuck you. Yeah. Anyway,
No one here knows what we're talking about. By the way,
but don't worry, guys. We're still friends.
not
asshole.
spoilers. Spoiler alert. Happy birthday, dude.
Stream anniversary. Yeah.
Or stream anniversary.
Man, I can tell you really read those
Same-
message and took them to heart. Like
Same
brought them in and
difference.
made them a
Happy
part of
birthday,
you.
dude. Happy stream birthday. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like it's always this is kind of an interesting thing and this goes into kind of the mind games as streamer and existing as a streamer. And Himmy made me feel like shit about this because he was so like a little better than me. But regardless, I'm still me, and I feel valid. But I was talking, and one of the things that I realized is, as you and Kara encountered your success, and to some extent I got to be involved with that. I'd get introduced to people, I'd follow them, and some of them would even follow back and stuff. And I built this kind of creator network that I knew, but I wasn't really like I'm acquaintances with everyone, right? Just because it's like, hey, I was in a lobby with a couple people, and like
You're all on
I played with
friendly
them once or twice.
terms.
But I see them doing, and you and Kara and all these different sick groups getting arranged and being put together, and I'm not a part of it. And I realized at some point, like I was actually like I had to start muting friends or acquaintance mutuals and stuff like on Twitter because it was making me feel worse that I wasn't a part of this. And the reality is of course I'm not. Like there's no rational expectation to be, and people can do other things, and I'm not involved. And there's all this stuff going on, and I'm sure that what they're involved in, they can still open their Twitter and see a million other things they're not involved in, all those different things. But it really came down to I was starting to doubt myself because I'm like, man, everyone else is doing all this cool stuff and I'm not. And eventually I was just like, I just need to do my thing and like stop paying attention. And that was the actual as I pour out my water instead of drink it. I'm good at games.
Nice.
But that was the actual answer is,
well,
I had to work through that insecurity and kind of recognize and come to terms with it because it was just like, I still see myself and feel like I'm just this small little person in this great big world kind of thing.
Dude, I feel that though, right? Like I remember in high school when I was in grade 8, the people in senior looked like crazy adults. I get to senior year, we still feel like kids, right? Like
no. It's what's funny there is you hit a point, and there's an ongoing joke of how old I am, which I don't say on openly. I just let people guess because that amuses me to no end. And by now it's part of the mystique.
Dude, everyone thinks I'm 40 because I played Minecraft with a kid who told his mom that I was 40.
Nice. 40's up there. That's like I wouldn't have guessed you were that old, but now you know what if you want me to call you old man, or what's the protocol here?
If we're not gonna deep dive into your age, we're certainly not gonna deep dive into mine.
Oh, that's fair. Fair enough. So anyway, yeah, I'm like in my head, I'm building a tiki, like a tiki bar. In reality, I'm just making a mess of wood. But you know, whatever.
I'm sure it'll look great. I'm
Uh,
trying on purpose not to look because I want to like be surprised. I want to be amazed
oh,
at the end.
you're just gonna be disappointed. Like you're building anticipation for no payoff. But it's like my wedding day. Never mind. Anyway, it's fine.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
okay.
Who's so hard on
No,
yourself, guy? Jesus.
but yeah, no, I had to kind of like come to terms that all this stuff was happening and that's okay and rationalize it. But that was tough during the early Among Us because it wasn't, but it felt like it was very cliquish and like I was on the outside again, you know.
Well, see, that's just so interesting because from my perspective, right? Obviously, I'm thinking, oh, I don't want to bother Zine. He's probably doing other things, and you're at the exact same time saying, I wish I was involved more. And that's just us needing to communicate.
I'm being invited to. That's wonderful. I hope you have fun. You know.
See, for me, a lot of my best lobbies, at least, it's like these are people who have directly said to me, oh, I had a great time. Let's do it again sometime. Because then I'm like, oh, they want to play, right? I don't feel shitty asking them for their time.
Well, and I mean, I've tried, like, you invited me to the Wednesday lobby, which I know was kind of a long-standing thing for a bit. Whatever. But I know, you know, and I was like, hey, you know, I tried to communicate, like, thank you. I appreciate it. Like, you know, thanks for reaching out. Think of me again, all that stuff. I hope I'm expressing gratitude and being
Yeah.
way. But yeah, no, like, again, it becomes a communication thing and an expectation thing. It turns out us as humans are just, we're shitty at talking to one another.
Right?
We're terrible at it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, we should have figured this out by now, but we haven't. But yeah. So anyway, the joke about Himikane though is, you know, I was like, hey, you know, I feel like that's something that a lot of people could probably relate to a little bit. You know, that feeling of imposter syndrome or you know, being let. And so I was talking to some of the other creators, and I was like, yeah, no, I kind of had to deal with this. And Himi just jumps in with, oh man, I feel great when I see my friends succeed. And I was like, well, now I'm an asshole. Thanks. You know, good, wonderful, appreciate you. And you know, obviously I wasn't genuinely upset or anything, but it was just like, some people take it better than me. Fine.
I feel like though that's not that crazy. Like for the most part, I would agree. Every time like I see my friends succeed, it makes me happy.
Yeah, no,
but there has been those times where I'm like, you son of a bitch.
You know what you could have done is you could have invited me a little bit. You know, like
yeah, you could have included me in this project, right? Yeah, no, I get you. I get you.
Yeah, and it's certainly not about, boy, I wish I didn't see them succeeding, because no, it's awesome when they're doing great.
No,
you know?
I wish I was there with them.
Yeah, but that's the other thing is you also like, well, man, you know, a couple months ago, like my numbers were higher than theirs, and okay, I need to step up. How, you know, and you can't help but compare yourself to people, and it's a very toxic thing, but it's very, very difficult to avoid. So yeah, streaming is not something I encourage anyone to do. If you want to, then I don't want to discourage you. I don't want to tell you not to do it. Obviously, it is possible to accomplish and be successful in, but it is very, very. There's a lot more to it. It's a very big mental game. It's a very long slog, and you know, you're in for some difficult times and some painful moments.
Well,
and people who I know and have complete and utter faith in. And just know that they do absolutely fantastic and are fantastic and loved by their audience. They have days where I end up talking to them and kind of being like, no, don't worry about it. You know, like it's just a moment, and the moment will pass. And you know, everything that you're doing is great. I wouldn't tell you to change a thing. It's just right now things sucks, and it'll come back. You know, and I've had to have that conversation with people who I know without a doubt are absolutely amazing and interesting and dynamic creators and all of that. So yeah, streaming as a whole mess.
Well, let me force shift this in a bit positive direction. Yeah. What's like, you know, because you've been doing this for long enough, what's your best memory of streaming? Like something happened either on stream or involved with streaming, but like something you can think back on, it just makes you smile, you know what I mean?
I mean, my absolute best one, and had me in tears. I have to be careful talking about it because it can still get to me a little bit. But I had a viewer that was with me from when I was in, you know, 20 concurrent viewers kind of world, and
was a homie.
you know,
Yeah.
and she was at the time I think 15, and she she was around, but I was able to counsel her a lot and really got to be friends with her and try and guide her. She made at least 2 attempts on her life that I and the community we were able to get police to do wellness checks and get her help, and get her to be in a better spot. And probably my happiest moment from all this is when it was because it was during COVID. It was just a little recently, like a year ago, but her graduation was live streamed, and I got to I watched her walk across and get her diploma.
Oh, that's so sweet. And a good twist on that story too. I was like, he knows I said best, right? Like,
yeah. It's getting dark over here, buddy. Like, like, but no, but like, it's tough out there, and I know it, and I've dealt with a lot of that. I'm not saying I understand specifically what any one person's going through, but there's a lot of difficulty out there, and it's an accomplishment just to make it through and exist in some of these days. So it was very awesome to be able to get to see that happen, and to know that we had a part in hopefully making her helping her to have a whoops, wrong wall, to have a
yeah, sorry, I was turning the boat.
Oh, that's what's happening.
Don't worry, your aim is fine. Your aim is fine.
My gamepad is kicking on, and I'm just spinning in place. But no, you're right. Okay. I had another kind of similar, a little bit similar, but a little bit different. But another high school friend that I told told her that if she
Wait,
would you okay?
We lost a bunch of boxes. I don't know how. What?
Where did it?
In the storage room. They're gone. Wait, what?
Oh, dude, they were there when you turned.
Yeah.
Like you left them. You left them behind when you turned.
What happened?
I just grabbed stuff like a second ago. Are they floating out somewhere?
I don't know. What the heck just happened?
I mean, this game isn't exactly designed for rafts this size, I don't think. But
True. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your good memories, but that just what the heck?
No, that was confusing. Yeah, no, I got you. But kind of the same thing. She was struggling, had some drug problems, and obviously depression and stuff like that. And I told her that one of the things I said is that when if she would stick to things and put in the effort, then I would come out and be there at her graduation. And she ended up graduating, and I flew out.
Oh, you had to go. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And got to meet her and hang out and again, it's not all. First off, I'd like to clarify, please,
Dude.
no, none of this was anything untoward or anything. Like, I'm just trying to help people, and it happened to be two friends of mine that were just in difficult times, and I knew what that was like. My high school years were very, very difficult, and especially with the untreated depression that I had to deal with and whatnot. I mean, I feel like everybody at this point, in hindsight, everybody had crappy high school years, and everyone had a lot to work through and difficulty. But I get the voice in your head that is telling you how bad you are at everything and what it can say and how mean it can be to you, and so trying to help with that and work through that, help people work through that. Again, being the person that I wish I would have known when I was going through high school.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is such a zine answer, by the way, and I love it, where it's like, it's not, oh, my favorite memory is when I got some $2,000 donation. It's like, yo, I helped another human being out. Like, that is such a zine answer, and I love it.
I mean, there's been, it was definitely a moment and pretty awesome. Streamlabs has like a series of kind of escalating fanfares by default with their bit donations, and I haven't changed it, but it's like the basic dollar donations like do, and then like a $10 like do, and it like gets bigger and bigger. And I actually found kind of unintentionally, but I found a on a sound audio clip site, like for your soundboards and stuff like that. I found a fanfare that fit very, very, very well and closely to theirs, but it was like a big, it almost when you play it, it makes you think of like a medieval, like an event announcing here comes the king kind of thing. And so jokingly, I set that at 100,000 bits, and I had someone in my community that was like, I want to know what it is, and so they played it, and I never expected to hear that. So that was a cool moment, but in terms of like memories that are cherished, like I appreciate it, I have gratitude, and that's kind, and it's amazing that someone felt like they wanted to do that for me, and that's all meaningful to me. But I find greater meaning in when I'm able to be giving than when I'm getting.
That's cool.
I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but
no, it absolutely, at least to me, it does.
So you asked me about a favorite memory. It's going to be like, when we were able to help or do this or make this happen. I have a pretty cool moment that I have planned for my stream anniversary that it might not go over perfect with everybody, but I think for the most part, it'll go over well. And I'm really excited for how it, for what, and it'll be, I hope it'll be one of those moments that I can carry if everything goes off the way that I'm trying to arrange it.
I've a pretty bad story actually, but my only ever 100,000 bits thing. So one of my now mods, but he wasn't mod at the time. He had worked all summer and he wanted to do something really, really big to give back to the stream. He said so. He saved up to do a 100,000 bit thing, and I for those who don't know, by the way, that's $1,000 in like cash.
Yeah. Well, and it's like because Twitch bits are so insanely priced, it's like 1,600 to the person buying it. But...
True, yeah. But anyways, this guy, yeah, he wanted to save. He absolutely blew us away with it for sure. Like me and my person who I streamed with at the time, like we didn't see it coming, and it was like, whoa, what? And I pledged him. I said, since you did this, like, because at the time Twitch didn't have the weekly resets of the bits and stuff, right? It was just like over the top was the top. I said, dude. I'll make sure you never get timed out, so it always stays there. It always shows off this really cool, big, flashy thing you did. And then, like within a day, I accidentally time him out in the chat. It was so bad.
Sorry, man. My bad. That's my bad.
Luckily, he was pretty chill about it, but I felt so bad, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah. I've had some people that have shown extreme levels of generosity, and it's always humbling, and you reach a point where you no longer have words to properly express. So you just like, hey man, thanks. I've already basically offered blowies or whatever, and you declined them all very kindly. I appreciate that, but that I have nothing left to express to you to properly show my gratitude. But thank you. Oh, you left your, one of the things that broke was your, oh no, there it is. It looked like the cheese platform you built died, but I guess it's over here. Never mind.
I kind of feel like maybe I should break that. I wonder if it's causing some lag or something. Because what happened to those chests?
I don't know. They just disappeared.
It makes no sense. And it's not like nothing underneath broke.
I'm trying to find the cooking pot, and I cannot for the life of me see it.
Cooking pot?
Yeah, it's literally... It just doesn't look right.
Huh.
Yeah, the one that you put that has the table and you do the 4 together, and it's literally there, but I was looking for a table cooking pot, not just a little round thing, which is not what it ends up being, I believe.
Weird.
But anyway.
Maybe here, you know what? I'm gonna save and restart real quick.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just in case, because I don't know what's going on here, man. We got wild on this adventure.
Oh crap. Okay. All right. So chat's blaming me.
Oh.
Because I broke a couple of the walls while the ship was turning.
Oh, it probably hit the chests that were on it.
And it hit the chests that were behind it, and so I took them out. My bad.
Oh, okay. Well, that sucks, but at least we know what happened. That's fine. Okay. I thought the game was breaking. No, don't even sweat it, man. I was worried the game was breaking more than anything else. That's all good.
Yeah.
Materials or whatever. I collect 1 billion of them just floating, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, rejoin off maybe you can, because the invite thing's not showing still.
No, I'm jumping in. It's loading.
Okay. Okay.
So,
well,
yeah, no, I was genuinely clueless, and then chat's just over here like, this guy's an idiot, and I'm like, okay, all right, I hear you, I see you.
Don't sweat it. Don't even sweat it. It's all Gucci. I thought the game was breaking. That was my only concern. We're all good.
Yeah. Nope. Just my poor aim while the ship turned around.
Well, admittedly, it's my fault. I turned the ship, so there you go.
Nah. But
Luckily,
anyway,
mostly we only lost rope anyways. Whatever, who cares?
Yeah. So I forget what we were. Honestly, I've already lost what we were.
Oh yeah, we were just like bantering after answering favorite stream moments and all that.
Yeah. So I mean, like those are the favorite moments. Oh right, and then bits, and you get to a point where you just can't say you have no words left.
Yeah,
to say
you
thank
just
you, and you just
thank you.
But at that point, like the people who generally were going to be that generous, like kind of understand, like they're like, just keep doing what you're doing, and like I'll do my best. I'll try and do you proud, and but I also try and make it clear, like I reserve the right that some or all of this may go to hookers and blow, and that's my choice, But you don't have to get, and they seem to understand that as well.
Do you know what? Sorry, I was gonna interrupt. Do you know what colors you're gonna be using for paint at all, if at all?
I have no idea. I tend to like blue, but I've not painted much in this. So I don't even know how the color stuff works very well.
What's so crazy? I guessed blue. I made so much blue paint. I just guessed.
Let's see. How do you got to make a paintbrush?
Oh yeah, over here. So I've got the brush and a chest full of paint for you. This one here on the left.
Okay.
So yeah, the paintbrush, when you right click it, it'll bring up a color wheel, and you'll need to mix and match some colors to make certain colors, obviously.
Okay.
I'm still grinding paint, so just if there's any particular color you're running low on, let me know.
All right, that works. Yeah, I feel like I've yacked off your ear a little bit there.
No, but that's great. That's the whole point of this, right? It's like think of it almost like a podcast, right? Where we're just chilling and talking about whatever we want to talk about.
No, I mean, and it's one of those things. It's like as much as we want to think we're all humble and great, at the same time, it's like it's kind of nice to talk about yourself sometimes. Have people be interested. So. Oh,
actually, here's a question I asked Kara. I don't know if you'll need time to think about this one like she did, or if you just already know. But if whether it's something formal or informal, whatever, is there something about yourself that you wish people would ask you about more often, like a secret hobby that you're proud of that you wish people would just talk to you about, or anything like that? Or topic or anything really?
Not that jumps to mind at all. I'm pretty open about obviously mental health and my advocacy there. Like there's people know about that. I don't necessarily feel like there's anything that people are missing about. Nothing jumps to mind. Like I feel like that's a boring answer, and I'm sorry, but I just in my streams and stuff, like I take time and do talk about what's interesting me, what my current interests are, and what I'm paying attention to, and so I feel like that's basically. Gosh, I'm feeling so basic bitch here, but I don't have any real secrets. I try and be pretty open and straightforward. And
well, I mean, it can even be something as shallow as just wishing people asked how you were more often or something. Like it doesn't have to be some big revelation.
Yeah. No, I have a few people that very dedicatedly check in on me and make sure I'm doing okay, and so I don't really feel like. Yeah, I'm sorry. Nothing's really popping to mind.
I envy your support system, my guy. That's great.
And that's one of that's been one of the things that's been great is, I really feel like I've been able and been lucky enough to put together a pretty significantly supportive group, and I obviously to some extent I feel like I'm a part of that, and a source for that, but I've just managed to become somehow surrounded by just people that are loving and caring, and I have good days and bad days and good things and bad things. It's not all sunshine and roses, but ultimately the people that I invested in have in turn invested in me, and so it all hopefully works with everybody. And interestingly, like in terms of the community and all that, one of the things that I did not expect, but has definitely been the case, is that my managerial experience has been huge in putting together and doing the whole streaming stuff in the community and all that. It's been an absolutely huge part of it. Because
I don't doubt that.
you
Not
need
for
to know
one
how to
second.
manage people and make them, be happy and sometimes it's always a little dicey for me, but one of the things that I'm good at in a way that makes me just a little ethically like nervous, but I try and use my powers for good and not evil, is I mean this like in a joking but not joking sort of way, is I've always been pretty good at, for most people, being able to read them and know what their motivation is, what they're looking for, and then find solutions or ways to have them be happy with how, what, like if there's a conflict, finding ways to make both sides be happy with the resolution, or at least explain it in a way that the one person who's quote unquote losing is accepting of the decision. And
Oh, I hate that idea of losing in a conversation.
it's a little, not even a little, it's a bit toxic, but it's something that a lot of people bring. And but I but my point is just that, like, I'm pretty good at letting people have my way. It's a diplomacy type of thing, but I try not to use that in a way that's manipulative, in a
Use it for good. Yeah.
self-serving way, but in a, helping everybody be happy with the outcome sort of way.
Well, I'm glad you use your powers for good, Zine, not evil.
I'm trying. Like I don't claim to be perfect, but it it's something I've been concerned enough about that I actually, like, quite literally have. There's a therapist friend that he's a streamer, but he is a licensed family and couple therapist, and we've become very good friends, and we share a lot of the information that we're dealing with in terms of mental health and everything together. But I've actually, like, sat down and talked to him, like, is what I'm doing here, is how I'm doing this okay? I feel a little, I don't know if bad's the right word, but I sometimes it feels a little morally ambiguous to be able to have people come to this point where they're like, yeah, what he said is perfect, even though I presented it in two different ways. I've given a resolution to both sides, but I framed it differently, tailored to each side so that they understand and feel good about that resolution. If that makes sense.
I don't know how to say this politely, Zine, but that was such a boring answer. But yes, it makes perfect sense.
All right, fine. Jeez, I'm sorry. Man,
I'm just giving you shit. Don't even overthink it. Like,
okay, I'm sorry. I'll try and be interesting.
no, actually, what's weird is I'm a bit of a goofball, and I think you're probably the only person aside from Car who's ever said something to me, at least, where it's like, hey, you're funny, right? And I don't think about it. I don't want it, but like, for my answer to that half of the question, it's kind of like, I do wish people would ask me about this or that or whatever about myself. But like, you do that for me, man. Like, you and Carly are the only people who've ever, like, said to, like, other people might be like, yeah, Rifkin's funny, but no one says it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's nice to be noticed, and it's nice to be appreciated. I have made a monstrosity. This is terrible. This is everything I wanted it to be and more. I'm glad that you're able to get that resolution or feeling a little bit from us, and that's really it. Is if you have I tell people, there's nothing more fundamental in your life than pursuing your happiness. I encourage strongly not to have that be at the detriment of others, but ultimately taking steps to make yourself happy there's nothing more important than that. And so that's one of the reasons that I advocate very strongly for making sure if a doctor has decided or is prescribed antidepressants or whatever, that you don't stigmatize yourself over them, but do what it takes to be happy. If that makes you happier, then use them. It'd be great. Pursue that. But to your point, if like, I would say, if that's something you feel like is missing, either one, you should have a support group around you that you can express that and have them be, oh, okay, I didn't know that, and and give you that affirmation. But also, if they aren't willing to, then you should be investing in people who do validate you in that way. You don't want to get to a point where your entire self, sense of self is through others' validation, but having people around you that are interested in what you do is part of having good friends and having people that care about you.
Well, I think actually,
Sorry if that was boring.
Well, okay, so you're totally gonna throw that back, yeah, for sure. Because as a knee jerk, like, apologies for making the joke about being boring.
No.
I think the big thing to take away from your answer initially is just like, you do have a healthy support system, and this is a successful guy who is like firsthand showing what a good support system looks like. Because God knows, like, I'm like halfway there. Oh, hang on one sec. I've just gotten a really terrible alert. It's gonna go on for a sec, sorry. This was a really inappropriate time, guys.
Oh, the guy you're talking to is an asshole.
You like what you see? Oh, I'm fucking coming. It's so fucking deep. The deep dark amnesty.
Thank you, Tiff, for the $50. Okay, sorry about that. Hi.
No, you're good.
But yeah, the point for me at that was just like, yeah, it's cool because, like, I guess I don't get a really exciting answer of learning more about like the inner zine, but at the same time, like, it is just reinforcing something that I think we've been talking about this whole time, right? Like, you're all about mental health and discussing it, and that's awesome. And like, it's a good example. Like, there's no one who could like call you unsuccessful. And so anyone who's like looking at like zine, this is what like a guy who's got his mental stuff in check looks like, right?
That's a scary thought. Oh dear God.
No, but that's cool. That's me going right back to what I praised you for before, where it's like leading by example, right? And you love to see it because it really just feel like only the last like couple of years people are even comfortable talking about mental health, right? Like publicly.
Yeah, it's definitely a newer thing. I mean, I don't know, I don't claim to know the exact timeline or anything like that, but it is something that we're starting to get past, and I like that, it's kind of like a different coin, and I'm not equating the challenges or anything that it's two very, very different spaces, but in the same way, it's moved along in a similar progression to the LGBTQIA community, where
sorry, the what community? Sorry,
the LGBTQIA.
Okay, sorry, yeah, I just didn't hear as well.
So I just roll that out like it's. I'm like, don't. Anyway, in that the younger generations are hitting a point where they're like, they just don't care about it, and that's what like, they're just like, do what you got to do, and that's the ideal, it's been through this transitory period where first it wasn't accepted, and then things started kind of moving forward, and yeah, there's always more work to do, and there's still challenges and everything, but I love, as much as particularly boomers and to a lesser extent Gen X and stuff like to crap all over millennials and Zoomers, I love the generations and the way that they are just like, they're just accepting, like, they're from the start, they didn't have those prejudices instilled with them quite as badly as the earlier ones, and that is one of the few or key positives that I see as we move forward. Sorry, my voice is going out. I'm going to take a drink.
Yeah, it's the lack of prejudice thing is big. I think without even being on purpose prejudiced, like, I was kind of prejudiced in high school and stuff. Like, I throw around the phrase like, that's so gay. That was like an era for people. Everyone said that in high school. No one meant anything by it, but it was. But at the same time, it's a prejudice, right? Yeah.
There's one that right now is really common, and I still hear it, like, even in our friend groups and stuff, and it's one of those, like, I'm not going to be the guy to be like, hey, excuse me, but it's something that I've, talked to others about, or at least my community, and said that, you know, here's why I don't do that. And that's the whole using the word cuck and all that, because it's fetish shaming, it's you know, sex shaming, and talking and taking someone who enjoys a certain thing and can do that as an adult and stigmatizing it. And so I stay very far away from that, and like, it's one of those, you know, just a little wince every time I hear it. But it is, I also recognize, like, you have to pick your battles, and you know, that's a very common phrase in the current vernacular, and I'm not going to win any friends or make any points by trying to stop them from saying it. But
yeah, but you can, you make it a conscious effort yourself, right?
I just try and be, I just try and make sure for myself that I don't, you know. And again, it kind of goes back to, like you said, of leading by example and trying to be that. Of I can't change everybody. I can only change my own behavior. So I try and act in the way that I wish that everyone did. And if someone takes something from that, if any of the people that are watching right now, if they are able to smile at a fast food restaurant worker or thank them and be gracious in a way that, you know, these people aren't used to, so that their day's slightly better, then I've helped to make the world better for myself and for others. And it's not big things, it's not noticeable things. I'm not going to get any awards, I'm not going to get any accolades or anything, but that's not the point. The point is just, it's how I wish that people treated me, so why can't I project that out in whatever ways I can? Again, I always end with, does that make any sense? Because it's a communication, you know, like an active listening type thing. But, you know, I hopefully that made sense in the way that I phrased that and put that.
Yeah, I think it did. Yeah, I think one of the problems I have too, because I don't know, I got ADHD, is if I ever say sentences that last more than a couple moments, I'm starting like, what am I talking about again? And then I'm not sure I'm making sense to even me, much less the person I'm talking to. So I get it. If you every time you say, does that make sense? I'm just like, I get it, man. I get it.
Yeah. It's a, you know, like, it's just, I want to know whether I'm being heard and whether I can do better in communicating it in the future. So it's just like, yeah, you know, am I on the right thing? But you know, ADHD wasn't something I had put a ton of thought into or really paid much attention to. But as I've gotten to be really good friends with Pionk, you know, and she's talked about it and been very open about it, it's really, like, kind of opened my eyes to, you know, and this is there's a broader theme here, but it just opened my eyes to the struggles and the difficulties and the things that they have to do, those of you dealing with it have to do day in and day out to exist in ways that come naturally to others. And, you know, it's just, it reinforces to me, we all are writing an interesting story, and no matter how boring you are, your story is interesting when viewed through the right lens. And we all, in that story, it's we all have our challenges, and we all have our pains and our victories and our losses. And, you know, you can't look at anyone and assume that you know their story, because it is so dynamic, and there's so much depth to every person and their experiences. Like, it's astounding when you get to know people.
My thing with ADHD is I didn't even realize I think I really even had it, like, for the longest time. And granted, right. I've still not been, like, professionally medically, like, diagnosed, but it's like so blatantly obvious, you know. And
sometimes it's like that. Although, you know, I always say, like, you know, if you suspect this, then talk to a doctor, because there are, you know, medications that can help. And, you know, Pionk would know a lot more than I would on that. But, you know, she said that I think it's Strattera that she takes that she swears by. So, you know, if you haven't looked into anything, but it's something you struggle with, then as I would advocate to anyone who came to me with depression, like, talk to a doctor and find out their solutions. Why not pursue being happier and making things easier for you?
Yeah, I'm pursuing that right now, but with so many other things.
Yeah, well, there's that. But really, it's like, I try and, you know, reinforce with people, like, you know, there's no prizes for going through life in hard mode. There's no, you know, no one's like, hey, good job, you did it. You know, you went through that feeling like shit through all those years, when, you know, instead of taking a pill and being happier about things. Like, there's no clap on the back at the end of that that's worth it. Like, you know, like, figure out what's going to make you happy and chase the hell out of it.
Yeah, for me it's not bad that I can't manage it. It's just you get those moments and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Well,
not paying attention at all today to anything or anyone. Like,
Yeah, and everyone's different, so I'm not like you need to be better, Rifkin. Jesus, but I can't believe it. Like, what example are you setting to the kids? But yeah, there's that just is a core tenet of mine, and one of the things that I try and push is just there's a route to being happier, and it's not gonna hurt anything or do anything. Then why the hell not chase it down?
happiness is such a funny thing to talk about too. I mean, like how many movies have been made just trying to find like what is happiness, and you get all these different moral resolutions or whatever. I at this point don't think I'm unhappy, but I also don't know what would specifically make me happy, right? Like would a new toy make me happy? Yes, but fleetingly for a moment, right? Like what was the value? How much? What is it that does it? I don't really think about that so much right now as I do surviving. I don't even mean like me being sick, but just COVID. There's so many bigger things to worry about for me right now. But like, if I just sat down and had to think, like, I truly don't think I know what would like make me happy. Because I'm not unhappy a lot of the time. I'm really lucky with streaming and all that, right? Like, I get to live pretty comfortably and I love this job because I don't have to deal with some incompetent boss who's pissing me off and I'm just complaining to all my friends about on the text group, right? Like, so it's weird. Like, happiness is such a strange thing.
It is. It's an interesting. Yeah, no, and it's different for everybody, and so it's hard to define. But at the same time, we all, this is a really weird thing, but it just came to me, and it's like pornography. You can't really describe it, but you know it when you see it.
Yeah, you know what you like when you see it.
You know it when you see it. But yeah, like you were like, there's so many other things and important things, but I mean, I would kind of, if you were being here and I was interviewing you, I would challenge you on that and be like, so what's more important than you being happy? And you're like, well, I mean, whatever direction you take that, whether it's going to COVID or that, and it's like, yeah, but those hardships, those are challenges in a day, but that doesn't mean that your pursuit of happiness is invalid or your desire for it or anything. Like, that establishing with yourself what is critical and important to you is a big part of really finding that happiness and being able to know that and find that out about yourself. What's interesting is because of my depression, I learned in my teenage years that sorry, I can get out of that if you need to. I learned in my teenage years that I couldn't trust what I was feeling. I'd be feeling something, but I didn't know why. And one of the strangest things as an adult is I learned there to follow up with that to why am I feeling this? And that helped me to isolate and identify I'm feeling this because I'm, because it's this happened, or in many cases with depression, I shouldn't be feeling this. There's no reason I'm feeling this. This is a false emotion that I'm feeling. I'm feeling sad for really no reason. But I really learned to be introspective and figure out what triggers those feelings, what doesn't, and to source my emotions. And I have come to learn as an adult, not many people do that. And I've always been kind of curious why people stop trying, didn't take more steps to figure out what it is that really made them feel that feeling, that made them feel happy and all of that. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, because I mean that's exactly what I'm at, right? But like not in such a depressing or sad way. And I don't want anyone to start worrying about me off of what I'm saying either. I am very grateful for where I am. I'm very middle, like a very middle.
Yeah. You're existing, you're content, but that doesn't mean that you found your joy in life per se.
Yeah. I think a lot of people do. Like, I think you see that through like the pursuit of relationships or the pursuit of like business success, where you're just like, they don't know what makes them happy either. They're just doing what they've been told or what they think will make them happy and all that. So that's why for me, I don't think too much on it really at the end of the day.
I think that's fairly common. I think a lot of people, because it is challenging, because it is and can be difficult, and there's truths that we don't necessarily want to admit, even if we do know it's not uncommon for someone to be like, I just try not to think about it, and that's fine. Like that's a personal choice. I'm not saying here's what you have to do.
Zine,
don't
I
have
just
to
don't
agree,
think
do
about
we?
it. Okay, man.
It's
Lay
fine.
off.
You know what? Like if you don't want to think
Jeez.
about it, that's fine. I'm just concerned about you, and I want you to be happy, and I want to know how I can help facilitate that. Okay.
By having good conversations like this, man. Easy peasy.
Perfect. Easy peasy.
By the way, how close is your thing to being done?
I'm looking for green, but I haven't been able to find any yet.
Green? You mean blue and yellow?
Okay, listen here, Pigment Boy. That makes perfect sense. Okay, listen.
You know, there's this show Misgift that's called
Color Wheel?
Schooled.
Oh.
And they ask
okay.
all these questions at like, you know, 4th grade level and then 5th grade level. They rip off Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader, basically, right? Or whatever the show is. And I've been watching it, not religiously, but it's really funny where people do mess up. And I was actually making fun of that to both Jordan and Kara in a group convo. And I realized that I answered the question wrong, that I was telling them everyone else was answering the question wrong too.
Can you believe this? Oh wait. See, introspection. It's a good thing.
Also, I was playing It Takes Two. Have you played that?
I actually am. I don't know whether I mentioned it or not, but we'll say it now. I think that's going to debut on the 6-year anniversary stream as well.
Oh heck yeah, dude. Well, I'm asking because like I don't want to spoil parts of the game for you or anything. So if you haven't really gotten too far into it, I won't go too in detail.
I haven't played it at all. Like all I know is it's a couple that gets shrunken there.
Yeah. Don't worry. I won't spoil anything.
Yeah.
But there is one part of the game that has math involved, and we're talking like it's literally asking you questions like what's 1 + 5, right? And my partner, who is a fully grown-ass adult, she's panicking with me at this part because she doesn't know how to do the questions. I'm like, excuse me? I'm like, look, it's like, what's 7 + 8? I'm doing this in my head like that. She's like, and she's just guessing at numbers until she gets it right. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? But
We're all different.
Right, between the green from you, that from her, and me and these questions, it's like, man, it's so easy to mess up on the silliest things. It feels so much worse when you do too, because you know it's something silly and you're just like,
Well, we tend to equate I'm trying to think of how to properly phrase this, but we tend to equate that with intelligence, and what we don't realize is there's a lot of us that don't know things, and it's not because we're unintelligent or it's because you're stupid for not knowing math or what. It's that our attention and our focus are in other things. It's the same way when I was doing in computers and stuff, and I'd have developers who were like, "Oh man, users are idiots. Like, I can't believe I've got these doctors that call up and they can't even boot their computer." And it's like, no, but they can perform thoracic surgery. Maybe it's not that they're dumb and idiots like you're calling them, but maybe they just perhaps focused on other things that you didn't. And so give them a little bit of slack and be a little more empathetic about where they're coming from. We all have our different pursuits and interests, and we should respect that.
That's a really good perspective, actually. To be honest, it's a really good perspective on it.
So anyway, it is vibrant, it is très bien, it is chic, and it is done.
I'm so excited, and this has been a really fun combo, Zine. Thanks for sitting down with me, man.
I appreciate you asking me. It's been, means a lot that, I got to build a monstrosity on your boat. And,
okay.
And I've enjoyed the conversation.
I'm going to slowly turn around for the reveal, and you can walk me through your construction, all right? So here we go, guys.
It's brief.
Done. Oh my God. I have initial comments.
Torch, but what's your initial comment?
McDonald's play zone.
Okay. I was kind of going, I got the purple in there. I was kind of going I was thinking about the pride flag a little bit, but I also didn't want to just, but.
I like this. This is like a restaurant.
Yeah. Like I told you, I was thinking like a tiki bar kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm digging it.
So I've got that, and then just on the up, you've got the balcony seating up top, and so I was just kind of thinking like a little restaurant.
Oh,
place
and it's got a view too. That's awesome.
And have some food. And I had a thought of I should move the door and put up a little server station. And then I thought, nah. But yeah, that was.
Dude, this is awesome.
That was kind of what I was going for. Was just like a Cancun tiki bar thing.
The rope wraparound, actually, I really like this a lot. This complements like the railing quite well, actually.
Yeah.
I genuinely though, I looked at this and I thought slide immediately. I just thought slide. Yeah.
I kind of thought about I was like, I noticed the stairs after I put the ramps in, but again I was like, I think that's good. Like it's just a nice gentle walkway and whatnot. So, but yeah.
Zine, I need you to do one thing for me before I go. Do you still have an axe?
What's that? I do. Do you want me to ask you a question?
I think just for the sake of my boat, I need to get rid of the god ramp. The stairway to heaven.
I feel like this is definitely there's the axe. I feel like that's something you should
no,
do.
No,
like,
no.
You should get that satisfaction.
Well, I'd like for you to do the honor so I could see it from a distance as it breaks.
Ah, okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Here, it's over here. You threw it over here. There you go.
It's right. Yeah. All right. That's not just
All
Okay,
right.
you ready? Do you have your perspective?
It is in full view, and I hate it here.
I hate it here.
Whoa, that looks so cool! Whoa, that was like dominoes. That looks so sick.
Yeah. That's how that works. Is it domino effects up? Is it's like, oh, this one lost its sport. This one lost its sport. And
I hope someone clipped that. If no one clipped that, please clip that. That looks so cool.
Well, I'm glad I was able to help with that.
Yeah, dude, I love that I've got this little house, dude. That's forever gonna be like, yo, this was Zine's place on my raft.
This mess is where you can go and have a margarita. That was the idea. Let me.
Oh, the last thing I do is you gotta put a sign on it too, man, so everyone else knows it's yours.
Okay. Let's see. And once I remember how to make a sign, I even have the things and everything.
Oh, let me show you my fix for Cara's house, by the way. So I accidentally took out all of this wall. Because I broke the wall underneath it, not thinking about the flooring, right? Sure. So she has like these really cool art pieces all over the place, and there was nice. One here on this wall. So
I love it.
That's my fix.
Perfect. I think you nailed it.
She's gonna hate me, dude. She's gonna be so mad at me.
I think it's great. I think you did wonderful. What should we call our tiki bar?
It's good. It's a good way to get around the lack of torch. I like that.
Nope, that's not what I. Why are you not working? Go. Can I? Oh, there we go. Let's see. Down. No. Work. It's okay. This is the most complex thing that I've done all day.
Dude, okay, someone got the clip. Here, I'll share it. You don't have to watch this on stream or anything if you don't want to, but just if you want to see it, it's so cool.
There you go.
Zine's Margarita Mansion. I like it.
Xenaritaville.
I'll tell you what, if I find like a cool throne beast or something, dude, I'll go put it right upstairs for you.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. But this has been fun. I appreciate it. Hopefully I didn't, disappoint you with my answers. I know that some of them were particularly boring. And
oh, dude, there's no come on, there's no disappointing answer when you're having a conversation. Whatever.
Yeah.
I was teasing, dude. You did not give a boring answer, and I know you're gonna dwell on this. I'm just gonna say it was a joke because I didn't know what else to say. It was a great answer.
All right. Well,
don't you dare dwell on my one bad joke.
No, it's all good, and I won't dwell. But please seat yourself. I had an extra sign, so
seat yourself. I love it.
just like take care of it. We're chill here. Just take care of it. All right. Was there anything else you wanted?
No, actually, just throw whatever you got left over. I guess in like a chest somewhere. I can sort it later.
All right. Well, I don't want to just dump stuff all over for you.
Oh, here, actually, this bottom chest would be perfect to throw it in because I just had to remake these, right? So I'll be moving all that stuff around anyways. So just, throw it in there. It's perfect.
Perfect. All right, dude. Well, thank you for the invite, and I had fun. I hope you did too.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming on my raft, man.
Yeah, it was a good time, and I will talk to you later, my friend.
Later, Zine. Have a good night, man.
Good night.
Well, cool. For all you guys watching, please be sure to check out Zine. He's X33n on pretty much everything. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I hope you guys have been enjoying these kind of chill Raft chats. I'll see if I can keep them going. If you have any suggestions on people you'd like for me to reach out to, leave their names in the comment section. Otherwise, oh, how did we end up at the dome? We're supposed to be adrift. How did we end up back at the dome? Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out the Twitch channel. Be sure to check out the YouTube channel, all that good stuff. See you guys on the next